Good afternoon. Welcome to Mustang Arena. My name is Mark Barchi, voice of the Mustangs. I'm joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through the JV contest as we get ready for the varsity headliner in our crosstown rivalry matchup. Apopka has something of a reputation in Orange County as a force to be reckoned with. And the Mustangs are going to try their luck here, see if they can bounce back from the loss against Ocoee. That was on Thursday night, and we are underway.
That's right, Mark. And Apopka's looking for its first win, too. Certainly the kind of start that Wekiva wants, taking the first point.
That's Ashley Blanco behind the back line there, opening things up for the Mustangs, and there she picks up a service error.
Apopka lost to Windermere and Olympia, both 2-0 victories. That's 2-0. JV is best of 3. And Apopka takes its first lead of the night in this JV contest, 2-1. We just got started, first set. Ball put into play. We are live from Mustang Arena, home of the Wekiva Mustangs on the southeast side of Apopka. Apopka looking to even the score. It's 3-1 in favor of Apopka. Apopka instead will take that 4-1 lead. Why is it over here?
Mark wants us to split up.
Split up?
So like me and my kids aren't on top of you guys.
Oh. So that'll make the score 5-1 in favor of Apopka. Wekiva took the first point on a unforced error by Apopka. Apopka committed an unforced error, giving Wekiva a 1-0 lead. Apopka scored 5 straight since. And make that 6 as the play at the net. Wekiva unable to get the ball over. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi with the call. This is junior varsity action. And a 7-1 score. And Coach Lorenz has seen enough. She says, let's get a timeout. As you just heard Mark say, 7-1's the score when we return. So, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi with the call. This is JV action. Still in the first set, just underway, but Apopka has taken a 7-1 lead. 7 straight points after Wekiva got the first point. Both these teams looking for their first win of the season. Junior varsity is best out of 3. So Apopka will go back to work, looking to extend that lead. So Wekiva at the net, they get the bounce, and they break the 7 consecutive point streak. close the gap to 7-2. And the serve, Apopka returns. The attack from the libero. Wekiva's turn at the net. The kill. Hard got a chase. It's going to be a free ball for Wekiva. Oh! And a bit of luck for Apopka, bouncing off the net and changing the direction. So the service for Wekiva is short-lived, only 1 point. And Apopka returns back to the serve. The attack now for Wekiva. And, right inside. Yes! Caught the inside of the back line. That ups the lead to 9-2, first set. And make that 10-2, an ace.
Shelby Tempest with the service ace. Next serve away, Brianna Beaton needed to step back and to the right in order to get under that one. Did not, and so back-to-back aces there for Shelby Tempest.
Yeah, 11-2 is the score. We're in the first set, best of 3 for junior varsity.
And a setting error there by Ashley Blanco will add a point to the Blue Darter total. Again, the Mustangs looking to bounce back here from a season game of the year for JV, even though varsity had already played one before that because Evans ended up being a varsity-only match here. The Mustangs are called out of rotation, and that'll be a free point for the Blue Darters.
Yeah, both these teams looking for their first win of the season. As Mark just mentioned, Wekiva's played only 1 JV game and Apopka only 2. So still a very young season. As Shelby Tempest continues on serve, and she'll get another ace. Pounding that ball low.
Shelby Tempest picks up her third ace of this series. And the Mustangs. Oh, no, never mind. Coach Lorenz was trying to call a timeout. The referee did not acknowledge it, and so the Mustangs decided just not to play that serve, and it'll cost them another point. But now the Mustangs request their second timeout of set number 1. We'll be back from Mustang Arena with the second half of the first set here in the JV contest, right after a quick break.
And welcome back to Mustang Arena. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi with the call for tonight's game. This is the JV match. Of course, varsity will follow right after this one. We're still in the first set, but Apopka has surged into a dominant position, 15-2. Wekiva scored the first point. Apopka then scored 11 straight. Both teams looking for their first victory of the season. Wekiva actually has played only 1 match. Apopka with 2, losing to Windermere and Olympia. course, if you're unfamiliar with the city of Apopka, Apopka and Wekiva are the two high schools in the city, as that was Brianna Santano Caballero, the defensive specialist, unable to get the ball up to the net, so Wekiva will take that unforced error, as Mark likes to say, contribute to the Mustang cause.
Next in the rotation for Wekiva, number 7, Linnea Preston. Yeah, and that was an interesting substitution there, bringing her in for a server who had 3 aces going in the series. And then it ended up resulting in a service error, but I guess when you're leading 15-3, you have a little bit of latitude to get some extra playing time in. Nice look from the back row with the libero, and Darters are going to pick up a kill there. Sierra Cotterman with the Darter kill. She'll also have the next service for the Darters.
Yeah, so the volleyball equivalent of baseball's when the batter comes up after making the last out of the inning.
And Cotterman is going to pick up an ace here.
And Cotterman will go back to work. Their second ace. We're going to have a stoppage, though, before the serve. And now Cotterman.
That one's going a little long, and the Mustangs, that was Micaiah Blackman in the back row there, wisely lets that one fly by. And so it'll be a service error, service back to the Mustangs. And Wekiva standing around waiting for an invitation here. Checking into the game for the Mustangs to serve next is number 8.
Low serve. Apopka, excellent job of digging. And now it's Apopka's turn. They handle the dig. And we go back to the rally. The attack from Wekiva. Bernard on the left. Attack from Wekiva. And miscommunication there, partially due to not having a lot of space along the net.
Service back to the Darters.
So
checking into the game for Apopka, number 1, Alexis Kinlaw.
So Apopka continues to dominate this first set of junior varsity action. 18-4, Morgan Perry with the serve. A low serve to the back row.
Checking into the game for Apopka, number 8, Avery Coddington. Also into the game for the Darters, number 7, Lenia Williams.
So approximately 30 minutes at the end of this game. Varsity will take to the court. And that'll make it 20-4. Of course, this is an inner-city rivalry, Mark. The two schools about 5 miles apart. Apopka on the northwest side of Apopka, heading over towards Lake County. And Wekiva on the southeast. Still working on those skills at this level.
That won't be an ace because it actually was serve received cleanly, but it was a ball.
Yeah, so Apopka certainly found that sweet spot, if you will, in the Apopka or the Wekiva defense. That's along the back row, although they have been alternating between the sides. And another hard to handle serve. Free ball for Apopka, no fourth point. Took advantage of that opening on the right back.
Apopka.
Back to the serve. Wekiva with the attack. A dominating set 1 victory, 25-4. Best of 3 in JV.
That takes us to the end of set number 1. It's from the Apopka Chief. We're ready to take you through set number 2. Afternoon here.
Yeah, 21-4, the final of that first set.
25.
25-4. Yes, it's 25 points. As the score indicates, a very dominating performance from Apopka of the season, although they have played only 3 combined. Apopka, in the meantime, has taken on and lost to Windermere and Olympia. And all 3 of those losses, roughly 30 minutes, well, normally 30 minutes after the conclusion of JV, is best of 5.
Both from our official and from Coach Lorenz. Of course, you know, in volleyball, you have, of course, 6 positions in the rotation, and you have to start in that rotation. So whoever's in position 5 has to be between positions 4 and 6, and so on. That move to the position that you specialize in as soon as the ball is served. So served, you can go wherever you want, as Abigail, for JV players, particularly early in the season for some of these freshmen who've never played at the high school level before, is getting into that cadence, getting into that rhythm of lining yourself up in the only place you can on the court where it's legal, and then immediately trading places to go where your specialty demands for the serve receive. It's not as easy as it to the Mustangs.
And on the serve for Wekiva, that's Brianna Beaton.
And it's a 6 kill on the tip for the Darters. Service back to Apopka. Next in the rotation, number 2, Shelby Tempest. So you'll recall in the previous set, Shelby Tempest picked up 4 aces before she was replaced through a substitution. This will not be an ace, but Linnea Preston there was a little bit late game for Apopka. Number 5, Story Jackson. Here comes Tempest's second serve of this series, and it's just a little bit too low. Can't clear
The middle, handled by the libero. The attack from Wekiva, Kinlaw.
And the Mustangs settle for a free ball coming the point anyway, in spite of the fact that they did not really bump, set, and spike that. They just settled for an over.
Yeah, that was a point. The team that didn't make the mistake takes it.
Second serve away, it's short, and the Darters have to send it right back. A little miscommunication there between Abreu and Preston, and it will ultimately cost the Mustangs as they settle for a free ball and a solo kill for the Darters from Story Jackson. Next in the rotation for Apopka. Well, we'll see if anybody wants it. There they go. Number 1, Alexis Kinlaw. That's another thing you see at the JV level quite a bit. As you get used to her in position, the officials, of course, are a little bit more lenient with that at the JV level as far as putting the server on the clock.
Yeah, less experience.
Service returns to the Mustangs.
So Preston try to cut into the 7-4 lead. Wekiva scored 4 points total in the first set. And the attack is going to come from the back with Tempest, and no dice, a Wekiva point.
Yeah, her timing was off there. So an attack error gives the Mustangs a break. 5 serving 7 now, so this is certainly compared to the first set, a much more competitive effort for the Mustangs, and that's partly due to Wekiva waking up a little bit and partly due to Apopka falling asleep a little bit, but they did not sleep on that attack as Esther Sawyer, number 12, Carmela Jossel.
And 8-5 lead. We are in set 2. Apopka won the first set by a 25-4 score. A very dominating performance.
That was all Apopka in the first set. Wekiva, again, suffering from some of the same problems we saw against Ocoee on Thursday, still struggling to figure out the communication. And speaking of communication, Josel picks up the service ace for Apopka. Excuse me, that was Jackson. Unable to communicate there, and they both stared at it and watched it fall between them. In this case, they will pick up a break here.
And that will cut the score to 9-6, as we're going to get a substitution for Wekiva. From Mustang Arena. Wekiva in the blue uniforms with the Go numbering and lettering.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 8, Destiny Renante.
Apopka in their traditional white background with the blue numbers. Apopka took the first stave off a loss altogether.
Checking.
Inter-city rivalry.
Yeah, it's verbal communication from the players, and that can avoid some mistakes like what we see there as Sophia Galbus and Micaiah Blackman can't decide between them who's going to go for it, and so neither of them did.
Yeah, but in general, there has not been much of a intense atmosphere, Mark, or environment.
Away, and Ashley Blanco just can't quite track that one coming down from this PA speaker. Again, it is legal to play a ball that has bounced off the ceiling and played pinball up there as long as it stays on your side of the net. If it crosses the net in the process of doing that, that is illegal. And here, Kelsey Bernard picks up the service ace.
So 12-6 score now. Apopka doubling Wekiva.
As you mentioned, Neil, JV plays best of 3, so if Apopka should continue and win this set, then that will end the JV match. If Wekiva should win, then we will go to a tiebreaker as Bernard picks up back-to-back service aces now, her second of the set and of the match. And we seem to have run out of volleyballs. We had 2 of them to start off with, and they have gone to parts unknown. Here comes one of them back.
So Bernard going back to work after the ace, and she will find that sweet spot. Second consecutive ace.
That's actually her third consecutive, as again,
excuse me, yes, third.
Sophia Galbus watched that one whiz by, and the Mustangs request their first timeout of set number 2. So Wekiva will try to right the ship, and we will be back in just about a minute here at Mustang Arena.
Mustang Arena, the site of tonight's volleyball action. A doubleheader, junior varsity leading off. And not much to say if you're a Wekiva fan, a lot to say if you're an Apopka fan. That's because Apopka has a 14-6 lead in the second set and a 1-0 lead in sets. So Wekiva certainly providing more of a challenge, a better quality effort in the second set, as they are down 14-6. They lost the first set 25-4, so they've at least gotten a few more points.
Checking into the game for Apopka, number 4, Brianna Santana Caballero.
However, Wekiva's still on the short end of the proverbial stick.
And that one is going to land in balance. I think that Sophia Galbus thought that was going to go out.
Yeah, it just landed right at her feet.
And
never
from where
curved.
I'm sitting, which is granted actually a pretty terrible angle, I thought it was going to go out as well.
This is Brianna Santana Caballero on the serve.
And in this case, she served early, so that'll be a reserve. Probably just as well, too.
From the Apopka perspective. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi on the broadcast of this doubleheader in volleyball, along with the broadcast production department from Wekiva.
An anemic serve there will give a freebie to Wekiva. Service returns to the Mustangs.
Yeah, much needed break for Wekiva.
Next in the rotation for Wekiva, number 8, Destiny Rayante.
The number 5 server.
Destiny Renante making her debut for the Mustangs in this game. She was not on the roster last Thursday, and Renante picks up the service ace.
Yeah, quite excited. So Renate cuts the lead to 15-8. She'll go back to work. And unfortunately, not equal to the previous serve.
Now unable to repeat the magic there, but she did pick up one for Wekiva. Service returns to the Blue Darters. Next in the rotation for Apopka, number 15, Esther Sawyer.
And a quick look at Wekiva's schedule. They opened the season with 3 home games. They will then go on the road for 2. September 1st, Forest Lake, and then September 2nd, Lake Buena Vista. One of the 2 new schools in Orange County Public Schools as, yes, score the ace. Score the ace for Sawyer, her first of the match. And that will take the lead to 17-8. Apopka already won the first set. This is junior varsity, best of 3.
Galbus is able to handle that one, but then another miscommunication there as Cameron Holman and Micaiah Blackman get tangled up with each other, and they muff the set. And so nobody had a chance at an attack there. And the Darters take a 10-point lead for the second set, 18-8 now coming up for Esther Sawyer. A rough reception there from Galbus and an even rougher set from Beaton. And Ashley Blanco never really had a sporting chance at that one.
Yeah, really that fell apart as soon as... And Sawyer back to work.
And that is going to be an ace. Esther Sawyer picks up the service ace, her second this series. You could argue it's her third, depending on whether you want to count that last one that went south quickly.
Apopka now up to 20 points.
Swing and a miss from Abigail Abreu. And Sawyer now picks up her third ace out of this series. And Neil, we may have a short JV contest coming up here, and it is going to be a side out to the Mustangs on the service error. Next in the rotation for Wekiva, number 4. Checking into the game to serve next for Wekiva. Well, nobody, because they're still waiting. Not a substitution. You had Cameron Holman coming on the net side of the attack line as it was going to be a substitution, so that's another little nuance of volleyball rules that can take a little getting used to for JV players. If you are going to actually substitute into the roster, you do it between the attack line and the net. If you are simply doing a libero switch, you do it behind the attack line. Service back to Apopka. Next in the rotation, number 7, Lanaya Williams. Regardless of the length of the JV game, that is always one of the conundrums that coaches run into when you're scheduling volleyball is, do you schedule them 60 minutes apart or 90 minutes apart? No matter what you do, at some point in the season you're going to be standing around waiting, and at some other point in the season you're going to start a game late.
Time. That point by Apopka takes the lead to 23-9. So now I guess you say we're officially on the verge of a 2-set sweep for Apopka.
Yeah, and if you can hold the team to single digits, then that's hard.
Twice.
Darter kill by number 1, Alexis Kinlaw.
And so
match
now,
points, Blue Darters.
As Mark just said, match point. And not only would this be a 2-set victory, but neither time Wekiva would get into double digits. 13 points total. Well, and they can't quite get that version of the shutout, the volleyball version of the shutout.
Service back to the Mustangs. Next in the rotation for Wekiva, number 2.
The attack from Apopka, and Wekiva catches a break.
Yeah, Brianna Beaton wanted to swing at that one, but she didn't quite get there, and it's a good thing, too. So sometimes 2 wrongs make a right, and that seems to be the case here.
And in the meantime, Apopka with the substitution, looking for that one last point to close out this victory.
Story Jackson and Avery Coddington come into the game for Apopka.
Apopka looking for its first victory of the season. Again, this is the junior varsity teams. They take to the court before varsity. Varsity will start at 7:30, approximately 45 minutes from now. And service by Beaton.
That's a rough placement, really tough placement, and the Darters are just not able to bail out of that. Alexis Kinlaw with a noble effort there. Freebies in a row with your Blue Darter and Mustang athletes. Special thanks also to those of you who joined us on YouTube or the NFHS network as we get this week underway in volleyball action. Don't go anywhere. For those of you in the arena, don't go anywhere except the concession stand. We'll be back with the varsity game at 7:30. For those of you watching online, keep in mind that each of the games is on its own separate live stream. So you'll need to exit out of the JV live stream, and we will meet you back here on the varsity live stream. I have a broadcast production, Mustang TV Network, helping us with the broadcast of tonight's game.